Welcome to the sixth edition of 2025's FO Exclusive. Last month, we covered the drama about the US budget and the US-China tariff deal, both of which were unleashing new economic uncertainty. Obviously, that persists. And we also talked about hunger stalking Gaza and a big crisis brewing in Israel. Well, we know there's a big crisis now in Israel, Iran, and includes the US. We'll talk about that later. This month was an eventful month. What happened? Well, a lot happened. The US budget is still stuck in the Senate. There's a debt crisis brewing. Ukraine launched a spectacular attack on airfields deep inside Russia, reminiscent of the SAS in World War II, the Special Air Service of the UK. The Ukrainians smuggled as many as 117 drones as far away as eastern Siberia, reportedly damaging 41 Russian planes, including strategic bombers. And of course, the Russians have responded by bombing the Ukrainians. So the conflict goes on. Now, in Poland, something very interesting happened, and Karol Nawrocki, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I'm not the world's expert on Polish last names. The hard-right candidate of the Law and Justice Party. Some people call it right. Some people call this party far-right. Some people call it hard-right. Whatever, it's to the right. Won Poland's presidential election in the runoff. He got 50.9% of the vote. So it is not just the US that is divided. He beat Rafał Trzaskowski, the government-backed centrist. Now, Poland has an elected president, but it has a parliamentary form of government. I know it gets confusing. The Europeans have confusing systems. After all, these are young democracies. Poland was under communist rule till 1989. The Berlin Wall only fell in 1989. Actually, Poland was under communist rule till 1991. So it's a very, very young democracy. And the Prime Minister of Poland, Donald Tusk, is a centrist. He does not exactly love the Law and Justice Party. So now you have the Prime Minister and President at loggerheads. Good luck with that. We'll see how the cookie crumbles or how Poland functions. As if that wasn't bad enough, there's lots of trouble in Europe. The UK has had to cut spending and reverse its pledges. Europeans have proved that they are feckless again. NATO members have caved into Donald Trump's demands and promised to increase their defense spending to 5% of the GDP by 2035.
They took a belated, courageous step.
Glenn, I don't know where the money is coming from. All these countries have high debt. So
they all control their own printing presses.
Well, yes, so they'll probably have to cut welfare spending, less spending for those pesky immigrants, more taxes, especially for the middle classes, something lovely to look forward to. We shall see where it all ends up. But, you know, we will see where Europe ends. Europe is not that bad in a state as, say, Colombia, where Miguel Uribe Turbay, a conservative senator and presidential candidate, was shot in the head. Now, he's a tough chap. He's still alive, though. As if that wasn't tragic enough, a plane took off, a Boeing plane. We have a lot to thank Boeing, Glenn. And the Boeing plane took off in India from Ahmedabad, an airport into which Glenn and I have flown into, I think, more than once. And it didn't quite take off. It took off, but couldn't take off. And it sort of slowly wafted down, killing everybody on board. And there were hundreds on board, and people died in the buildings that the plane hit. Preliminary inquiries suggest it was an electrical failure. So thank you, Boeing, once again for making a great plane and solving the overpopulation.
So you always should look at the people who maintain the planes are invariably at fault.
Oh, yes, the Indians, the overpopulated Indians, I suppose. But anyway, whoever may be at fault, it was a tragic incident, and it certainly damages Boeing, and of course raises questions about the safety of air travel in India. The Director General of Civil Aviation, just to show that I am not just targeting the Americans, the Director General of Civil Aviation in India is a chap called Kidwai. Till yesterday, he was in charge of farmer welfare because he's a member of the Indian Administrative Service, the heaven-born service in India that runs everything from the Archaeological Survey of India, because of course no archaeologist can, of course, administer such far-flung monuments. And they also run the Reserve Bank of India, and not an economist, because economists don't know anything anyway. So the IAS, descendants of the Indian civil service, bastard children of the empire, run everything and anything in India, and maybe the DGCA needs to look at it, assuming, of course, he knows anything about aviation and anything about aeronautical engineering, which I highly doubt. Nevertheless, moving swiftly on from violent Colombia and inefficient India, it's not all doom and gloom. Vietnam has said it will scrap the death penalty for 8 crimes, including embezzlement. Seems to be a step in the right direction. They are discovering
government officials trying to protect themselves.
Oh, yes, indeed. That may be the case. And they're pretending to be humane. And Elon Musk and Donald Trump have had a spectacular falling out, making for great public entertainment. Glenn and I have enjoyed it very much. Trump has approved Nippon Steel takeover of US Steel. And so 3 cheers to Japanese diplomats. Our friends are patient and discreet, diligent and dutiful. So well done, Japanese. You've managed to achieve something that you couldn't even during the Joe Biden era.
Join the conversation at Fair Observer and subscribe to our YouTube channel.